Good morning. It is 1 a.m. in the morning over here in Kyoto, Japan. You are now live on Shootin with me, Mr. Dakusenju, or MDS. If you are actually quite surprised, yes, Taker's Minion is unable to. My co-host, Taker's Minion, is unable to jump in this week because he has a prior engagement at work that he cannot escape with. So here he is. So here I am, sitting on the main chair, doing everything I can to stay alive and stay healthy and stay sane as possible, considering the fact that we actually had Survivor Series, and boy, what a show. What a show. In any case, I can't really talk about Survivor Series and talk about NXT TakeOver War Games all by myself because that would be a little bit crazy. So here I am dragging a willing subject into the matter of things. This week I have with me one member of Grounds for Development, one member of Connoisseurs of Wrestling, and one. That's pretty much it, correct? You have two podcasts, am I correct?
That's it for the time being. We'll see how it goes next month. It could change. You never know.
Yes. So here I am with Mr. Biff Kingston III. How are you today, good sir?
Doing very well, Doc. Happy, well, I guess it would be a Sunday morning for you, early
Sunday morning, 1 a.m. for me. Yes, I'm sipping coffee. I'm trying to keep myself awake. I mean, for you, you're trying to keep yourself awake because, well, both of us are trying to keep ourselves awake because you, sir, you only had about, 48 minutes of sleep?
48 minutes of sleep, and yet I'm fully dressed. I've got a cup of coffee right here. Mm-hmm. I am ready to talk with my good friend, Mr. Doc Senju, about Survivor Series, and I'll do my very best to keep the viewership up. I know I'm a pretty substantial downgrade from Taker's Minion, but I will do my best to fill his worthy shoes. He's the Godfather, I'm the Godson. So
yeah, okay, substantial downgrade. Don't knock yourself down too much.
That whistling noise is the viewers fleeing like rats deserting a sinking ship.
Delete, go away, the ship is sinking.
Control-Alt-Delete.
Control-Alt-Delete, power button, failure, everything else. I mean, other than that, how have you been this week?
Well, it's my favorite time of year because it's time where we can be fat and lazy as a ritual here in the US of A. So a good turkey day overall. I accidentally fell asleep eating a piece of pie.
Okay.
Which was not the most advantageous way to eat a pie, especially when you just kind of wake up and realize that your mouth is full.
Jeez, don't do that. Don't fall asleep when you're eating pie, man. I mean,
the food coma was supposed to be scheduled for after the meal, not during the meal. So.
Exactly. I mean, here's what immediately jumped into my mind. You know the anime or manga One Piece, and you have the brother of Luffy, which is Ace, who's actually eating, and then suddenly he falls asleep mid-eat. That's what I'm imagining when you're saying that, yeah, I woke up with a piece of pie in my mouth. Goodness Lord. But I'm guessing you had a good Thanksgiving.
It had a very good Thanksgiving. It was it's always a treat to watch your football rivals kick copious amounts of ass on your other football rival. So congratulations to the Saints for demolishing Atlanta.
Congratulations.
Congratulations to Dallas for beating Washington. And I'm sure Taker and company enjoyed Chicago doing their business to Detroit. So good times, good food. Mm-hmm. It was fun spending it with all the people in cage side seats. So.
Yeah. I mean, I know you guys did Thanksgiving on the 22nd. For me, it was 23rd. Over here in Japan. So,
yeah, I mean, it's
number one and number two. 23rd, number one, and then number two. What was it again? And number two, we didn't, since most of the Japanese folks over here do not celebrate Thanksgiving, we actually celebrate it on a whole different matter, which is Labor Thanksgiving Day. Technically speaking, we have 2 Labor Days. So
I saw that tweet. I was curious as to if that was like the equivalent of Thanksgiving in Japan.
It is an equivalent of Thanksgiving in Japan, but we don't really call it Thanksgiving. We just call it Labor Thanksgiving, Kinro Kansha no Hi. It's always on November 23rd. It's an established to commemorate labor and production and basically just give one another thanks or just be thankful of the labor people that work on November 23rd. So basically that. There's a few other events that happen as well as Labor Thanksgiving Day. One of them being, some say, there's a lot of harvest festivals in Japan. One of the famous ones being Nagano Labor Festivals. That one, and then usually the kids would draw pictures or create drawings and then give them to local kobans, and that's pretty much it.
I mean, that sounds a lot cooler than what happens on the 23rd here, which would be Black Friday and everybody beating the crap out of each other with this.
I am so glad that nothing happened on the 23rd with my end on Black Friday. Somehow Black Friday is not really picking up in Japan, so that's good. That's good.
Yes, that's very good. So I love the stories of the people that go armed to Black Friday events at Walmart, including one this year, which was particularly fascinating. A woman actually took a bottle of pepper spray.
Mm-hmm.
Decided she was just going to spray her way to the goods. She got away with it, apparently. She didn't get arrested. She was able to get her stuff and get out. So,
yeah.
But I love the maelstroms and just watching everyone. Karl Marx weeps in the afterlife over the capitalists just, cackling with delight. The ultimate capitalist battle royal.
Mm-hmm. I mean, over here, I think there's not much craze going on for Black Friday over here. It's just it's not quite the level of stampedes and violence that you can see back in your end. It's just periodic sales throughout the year, but the biggest usually comes up leading to the new year. People with patrons coming to shopping malls getting lucky bags, fukubukuro as one may call it, and then it's just discounted goods being packed up in their bags and being given up in a huge discount. And some stores actually tell you exactly what you're getting in the bag. So it's a fun thing. But then again, people are not fighting. It's just people queuing up one-on-one and then just handing it over and then just, okay, when it's done, it's finished.
It's nice, it's polite, it's orderly, it's everything you would expect from Japanese society.
Yeah.
And over here in the States, we are loving our cowboy mentality, my friend.
I heard
it's
about
the wild freaking West in these Walmarts.
I've heard news that people are fighting over things and stuff. What the heck?
Over $5 toasters. $5 toasters.
I know.
You know what? By God, America.
I'm not dishing. I hope I'm not dissing out on the whole American culture as it may or as it should be, because it is what it is. It happens on your end, but over here it's just we line up in an orderly fashion and then just take it in there. And it's finished. Oh, it's finished. It's okay. I can buy something else. We're very happy. Some people might get angry, but that's pretty much it. Just get angry and just be okay. I'm pissed. I missed out.
Hey, you know something? American ingenuity has taken the world in a very interesting direction the last, century. We've harnessed the power of stars, both for energies and, LOL-sized weapons of mass destruction. We've planted a flag on the moon. We've sent probes out of the solar system. Our science used to be second to none, but by God, if there's $5 on the line, y'all are screwed.
Mm-hmm.
They're just going to attack people over a blender for $50 at Target.
$15, yeah. But other than that, I had a good 23rd. I spent most of the day playing with my secret weapon, the little baby girl that I have before she went off to her in-laws, basically her grandmother and grandfather from the father's side. So
I definitely think the end of the week for everyone involved was probably nicer than the start of the week.
Yeah. I mean,
at least in terms of Survivor Series. I mean, Takeover was damn nice. That was a nice little treat. But
I mean, yeah, I agree, because leading in, we watched Takeover War Games, and that was great. And then watching Survivor Series, and that sucks. And then watching Raw and Smackdown, and then it's like, this feels average, and you're just gonna scoot over the fact that you actually rushed over Survivor Series for about less than a week, and then you're gonna quickly move away from Survivor Series less than a week. Wow. Wow.
Survivor Series used to be the Cadillac of the Big Four pay-per-views. Next to the Lamborghini that it is WrestleMania, now it's more like the Datsun Cherry. If you're a Top Gear fan, like the original Top Gear, it's the Robin Reliant.
Over here, it's known as the Nissan Cherry. So, but back then, yeah, it's known as the Datsun Cherry. So
there you go, like a little 1978 Ford Pinto that'll blow up if you hit it too hard. So.
And heck, if you want to know, I know a person who has the Nissan Cherry and just drives it. It looks like new. He already refurbished it, but the old guy is just driving it. Oh, I'm just driving it as if it's relatively normal to drive this kind of car.
That's the kind of car that you better live in, like a real flat area, because if you got anything more than like a 3% grade, you ain't getting up it. So.
Yeah.
You just putts to a stop, and then you start rolling backwards, and then start praying for dear life.
Yeah, I think we live in a flat area, so there's no incline up the hill. Although we live close by to a hill, so please don't drive those kind of cars. But in any case, yeah, like you said, Survivor Series sucked. WWE was average. Week was average, and then suddenly Labor Thanksgiving, and we're just a nice way to end the week. But yeah, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but we're going to have to go back to the start of the week. So.
Well, I got some Jim Beam I can put in my coffee. I'll soldier through. So.
Swig of coffee for the waking up, man. So both you and I both are trying to wake up on this one. But
America. Oh, yeah.
America. In Nippon. In any case, let's start off with a good one anyway. So let's start off with NXT War Games.
Yeah, the half glass full show of the weekend.
The glass half full show. Sorry.
Oh, this was overflowing. This was like the dream sequence from Happy Gilmore. You know, when Grandma hits the lotto and Shooter McGavin is playing stick pony and Chubbs has his hand back. It was all sunshine and rainbows on Saturday night.
I mean, it's just if you want to start it of the week and you want to start it off on a good note, this is how you just sit on the couch and just if only the WWE wrestling for the day is just as good as this one. In any case, for those of you, go ahead.
If you stop Saturday, you did all right.
Yeah, stop Saturday, you did all right. You go the whole week. At least you ended off with a positive note with Thanksgiving and Labor Thanksgiving. But in any case, for those of you guys who are more curious about just the outcome, here's the quick recap of the results in general. I mean, I can spoil it because it's already been a week. So you have surprises and surprises. Matt Riddle defeated Cassius Ohno by pinfall. Shayna Baszler defeated Kairi Sane to retain the NXT Women's Championship. Aleister Black defeated Johnny Gargano. Aleister Black defeated Johnny Gargano by pinfall. I know someone is just gonna say it. Tommaso Ciampa defeated Velveteen Dream by pinfall to retain the NXT Championship. And of course, the main event War Games match, the babyface team defeated the Undisputed Era by pinfall. So that's the whole result that we had. So let's just take a dive deeper into which element stood out as the best and probably, I can't say worst part. I'd say we just get to the low end TakeOver War Games. One positive of it, I have to say, it's just Matt Riddle coming out and knocking out Cassius Ohno.
That was fun. It was really cool to see Matt Riddle jump out in there and just make short work of poor Cassius.
Poor Cassius. Poor Cassius.
At least he got his cardio in for the day.
Yeah, he had his card punched in for the day. Matt Riddle with his bare feet coming in, just give a single kick and a pinfall, knocking him out. That in itself is just okay. Good introduction to the character of Matt Riddle. Good introduction to the person that is Matt Riddle. So
he ain't working by the hour.
Yeah. Again, working by the hour in regards to Cassius Ohno. Again, he's being positioned as the bitter veteran whose careers are going down the drain, in comparison to the younger, fresher face like Riddle, of course, who now even looks even more legitimate after making a little bit of short work of Cassius Ohno. So good on him. You actually put someone strong like Matt Riddle to actually look strong. So is that?
Yep. If you're not going to have a full match, this is the way you need to go. Short, to the point, memorable. People will be talking about it for a while to come. So
yeah. I mean, and it's a good introduction for people who don't know who Matt Riddle is who don't really watch independent scenes a lot. This is your starting point for Matt Riddle WWE. Or Matt Riddle NXT, if you want to go that. If you want to go specifics. Pretty sure. During the coming months, we'll actually analyze the impact of Matt Riddle in NXT. Might a little bit more in grounds of development. So there is that. I'm only just going to touch on NXT War Games. But another highlight for me, which we actually. Oh yeah. Before that, I need to pull out the predictions that we made. Because Matt Riddle and Cassius Ohno didn't really count, so there's out. So again, one highlight for me, I think, Shayna Baszler versus Kairi Sane for the NXT Women's Championship. The match is a barn burner. I think it's just good, if not better than the previous encounters. I think the right woman won in Shayna Baszler, I think.
Yeah, I wasn't a fan of them putting the title back on Shayna at Evolution, but once they did that, I feel like you're kind of committed to keeping it. You have to kind of commit to the whole thing. I mean, again, I predicted this. You positioned Jessamine Duke and Marina Shafir as her lackeys, which, again, like I say last week, kind of sort of a wrong move because, I don't know, Shayna Baszler should be Shayna Baszler. Just lone wolf badass who just kicks ass. So yeah. I could go. I see both sides of it. I see your point where Shayna Baszler, she's kind of been positioned like a tank. She's been the strongest champion in the NXT brand since Asuka. Really, she's kind of taken over the mantle for Asuka.
Yeah.
At the same time, I don't have as much of a problem with the horsewomen being kind of positioned as her lackeys because she has kind of gone in the past off of this kind of like the Queen of Spades tangent, building the Queen's Army, and she's had lackeys in the past on the independent scene, and we know the MMA connection obviously with the Four Horsewomen here. I think it would be a little different if we're talking like Lacey Evans and Bianca Belair just happened to be her flunkies. I don't think that would have worked necessarily, but the fact that it's the MMA horsewomen, WWE obviously is going to try and cash in on the horsewomen feud at some point. So
yeah,
I understand. Yeah, I can see your point where she doesn't really need it. She's the complete package without them. But I understand what they're going for here, I think.
Yeah, me too. Because when you actually can position it this well, or just slip both Shafir and Duke alongside Baszler in a more smoothly without little problems or whatnot, and people are just going to say, okay, this is okay, and this is exactly what WWE is going to do. Just slowly, subtly push you into a four horsewoman thing. But at least in my part, it was nice to see both Dakota Kai and Io Shirai get a little takeover. So,
oh yeah, absolutely. Io Shirai, a picture perfect moonsault, just breathtaking.
Yep. Do I count this as an Asai moonsault? Probably so. Probably so.
I would, yeah.
Yeah, I would count this as an Asai moonsault. Yeah. But I think in the end, like I said, the action was great. It's just as good, if not better, than the previous encounters. It's just something just clicks perfectly when putting both Kyrie and Shayna together in the ring. They play up both their roles as heels and babyface, not flawlessly, but just good, just the right amount of good, just the right amount of perfection in a way.
Yep. I completely agree. It's like the right levels of heel with Shayna versus the right level of heel with Kyrie. They got the perfect balance to tell the stories that they tell.
I think you're flipping the script. Shayna is the heel. Shayna is the face.
Sorry, let me try that one again here. Shayna Baszler is the perfect heel. She's not too over the top, but she's not too weak. You know, she's got the right amount of like greasy, dirtball, jerkwad qualities about her that make all heels worthy of being booed. Whereas Kairi Sane is kind of like the perfect babyface foil to her because she's likable, she's energetic, she is.
She's something different that I think the casual WWE fan hasn't really seen in a while.
Yeah, she's got. I think the word that strikes me, I think when I look at Kairi Sane, is vulnerable. She's got the vulnerability that the classic baby faces had. Like Ricky Morton was so vulnerable, and he could sell. Oh my God, Ricky Morton could sell, and Kairi Sane can sell too.
That's true.
And Kairi Sane can kick ass when she wants to. So,
yeah, true. Yes. She is. She can. She can be a complete badass if she wants to.
Oh,
but
yeah.
I think I can make a similar comparison if you want, say, Kairi Sane to be compared to one, say, Shawn Michaels, who can play the how to say, the sympathetic babyface way. So.
Yeah, I could buy that. Especially with the elbow drop off the top. I mean,
of course, because for you, it's Ricky Morton because you know a lot more stuff on Ricky Morton on the old school side. Me, I tend to go to the WWE superstars in the start, beginning, end of the Attitude Era. So Shawn Michaels. So there's that.
Oh, she's definitely closer to Shawn Michaels in terms of her in-ring work. There's no doubt about that. She's one of the best in-ring workers in the company, male or female.
She's one of the best in-ring workers, and she can arguably sell the babyface in peril in a sense, in a way, because I think the better one is Dakota Kai. So
yeah, so there's a lot to love. There's a lot to love about Kairi Sane. She brings a lot to the table.
There's a lot to love. I mean, I don't know how they're gonna go towards this moving forward now, because again, that also allegedly to have to see the fact on this week's NXT, which you may or may not catch. So there's that. But in the end, I think Shayna Baszler retaining the title, it's the best course of action for the future. I think she's a bigger priority going forward. I mean, going through the match, I think I understand why they wanted to strap on Shayna Baszler. She's the priority that they wanted to focus on. So, give Baszler the heat, making sure Kairi Sane didn't really look weak, which both of them done perfectly, done flawlessly in a way. Because both of them look strong. Even Kairi didn't really look weak in defeat. So it was
exactly. It was good. The finish was nicely executed. So.
And then another positive I can say with the match against Black and Gargano. So there's another one. I mean, continuing the trend from the past year, I think both Aleister Black and Johnny Gargano proved once again why they have been two of the anchors of NXT for quite some time.
Yeah, absolutely 100% buying in on those two guys as having just amazing futures. They they kicked ass. I mean, that was an absolutely awesome match. We said it on Wednesday. It was the quintessential NXT style main event. Aleister Black and Johnny Gargano put on the match that NXT fans have become accustomed to seeing.
Yeah.
It hard hitting, told a great story, and featured a real dramatic finish. NXT's version of the Shawn Michaels super kick to Ric Flair, almost, except in a kind of a different way.
Yeah, in a way. Because
poor Johnny got injured, so
yeah, poor Johnny got eaten. So in a way, it's not that bad. It's a great match. I mean, it's a strong showcase of the athleticism and technical skills that both Black and Gargano has, with both really hitting numerous high flying maneuvers and countering each other's attacks. And the counters, my God, the counters are just smooth. And if I wanted to nitpick on how they attack and then counter again, oh my God, I can't really put a finger as to where is the flaw in it. It just looks smooth as butter. So
I tell you what, Johnny Gargano, I mean, taking nothing away from Aleister Black, because he's had a very solid year.
He did.
He will spend most of the summer with the championship. But Johnny Gargano, if you just take away his takeover matches in 2018, I mean, my God, the level of quality that he has pumped out this year, because he had the match in Philadelphia to start the year with Andrade Cien Almas, which a lot of people say is the best NXT match ever.
Yeah.
Then he goes into New Orleans and he has just a barn burner with Tommaso Ciampa, another match that people say could be one of the best ever.
Yeah.
They play it back in Chicago to equal fanfare. The Brooklyn match was probably wearing a little thin, but even, stale pizza is still
pizza.
Yeah. And then he turns here and he has this match, third from the top with Aleister Black. Manages the impossible by turning heel. Like Johnny Gargano, the quintessential babyface, goes heel for this match.
Yeah.
An absolute fantastic job. He's got to be the MVP of the brand just from a sheer work rate perspective.
Exactly. I mean, not to knock off on Johnny Gargano again. At least Aleister Black is just great. I mean, he had a solid year. I mean, most of his year was spent holding the NXT title again. But when he was removed of that, and when you slot him in feuds that had meaning, feuds that had a compelling story behind it, especially in Gargano's side. So there's nothing, because it's the whole match here is not really a series of moves, counters, and high flying spots. It's just, it told the story of Black's need for revenge and Gargano's descent into madness. So in a sense, that was the story they wanted to do, and that was the story they kept, and that was the story they brought into the match. And 100%, they 100% nailed it on the board. So awesome on that one.
Did you like this match? Here's the $1 million question I think a lot of people are asking. Did you prefer the Johnny Gargano Aleister Black match, or did you prefer the Velveteen Dream and Tommaso Ciampa? That's a tough one.
I can't answer you that question now. I mean, oh my God. I can't.
Tough. It is.
It's tough because you have one where it's full of story, and in Black and Gargano, the other one on the side of Dream versus Ciampa, it's more pedigree versus pedigree versus up and coming talent. So there's that. But then again, the up and coming talent didn't really shrink off the spotlight. He shined on the spotlight.
Oh yeah. This was every bit. This is exactly what Velveteen Dream needed to do. He needed to come out and prove that he belonged in the main event picture. Because nobody will ever doubt him in that role in NXT again. He's a made man in NXT now. He can go to any main event he wants to. Yeah.
And I forgot to point it on Gargano, because if you guys are fans of Marvels, you surely would appreciate that Gargano came out looking like the Punisher. If you appreciate that, you might appreciate more when Dream came out looking like Hollywood Hogan inspired garb. So
with 3 leg drops and 3 big boots.
Exactly. But that's what he does. Each and every time he comes into the main event for a paper, not exactly a main event. Each and every time he comes into a pay-per-view card, he brings his A game, and this is his A game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I'll tell you this much. When I thought Tommaso Ciampa was holding onto the title because I didn't see them putting it on Velveteen Dream this early.
No.
So I was fully expecting Ciampa to walk out of here with the belt. But the hallmark of a great match is when you can suspend your disbelief and buy into some of the false finishes.
Mm-hmm.
When Velveteen Dream hit that kind of that rolling DDT on the concrete after Ciampa smacked Mauro Ranallo.
Yeah.
He threw him in the ring and he rushed up to the top rope to hit that big elbow drop.
Mm-hmm.
I bought that as the finish.
Yeah.
I had a conniption fit when it was 2 7/8. I honest to God thought that was a new title.
Yeah, I mean, you wanted that kind of okay, you son of a b. You smacked Mauro Ranallo around. You should deserve to be losing that title. And
exactly. Yeah.
Somehow he's just kicked out from the elbow drop. My God.
Greg, my co-host on a Grounds for Development, had the perfect way to describe the ending of this match. Mm-hmm. He said after it was over, he needed a cigarette. And I was like, 100% with you, pal. You just need a cigarette to mellow out after that one, because that is just such an incredible high.
Yeah, because like I said earlier on, if you love the storyline, if you love the story match that Black Gargano has, you're gonna like the spectacle, and then the matchup that Dream and Ciampa has, which is exactly what it is. I think a lot of people would say that this might just be the worst match in the card going in, because it's not terrible as in a way. It's just going in, you're going to go up against the War Games match and the main event title, and then you have Black versus Gargano, and then you have Kairi Sane versus Shayna Baszler. How are you going to compete against that? So that's the unfortunate mindset that you're maybe going to have going in, but going out from it, my goodness, it's just it's
hot fire is what it was.
It's hot fire. What's it was? Yeah. It's just, my God. And we sung praises about Velveteen Dream a lot, and geez, I'm not going to be surprised if Velveteen Dream somehow has a title sooner rather than later, because this guy just proves everything that he can be in the ring. He can go in the ring. He can just stick it around with the veterans or even some of the more famous names that you have in the roster.
It would not shock me if he is NXT champion within the next calendar year. I think the best two options would be probably either building up for WrestleMania weekend, the takeover coming up in April of 2019, or maybe the August takeover, which is going to be the first one out of Brooklyn for a while.
Yeah, true.
I think they're going to be in Toronto for SummerSlam next year, so that'll be Toronto 2, I guess. But, in any event, I could easily see them build up to a Velveteen Dream title win, because he's only 23. I mean, he's got the world in front of him. He's going to make a lot of money for this company.
Yeah, and he's just 23, and he has such an undeniable it factor that it's just oozing out from him. He's seamless with the transition. He's crisp in his moveset. His step overs, holds, and whatnot looks good. No faults given. He has charisma in bags, not just bags, maybe just sacks and sacks of charisma. He just oozes out from his body. Just the minute details that he does, just you can just really say, oh yeah, that's why he pulled his headband back. That's why he's dressed up as Hollywood Hogan in a way. That's why he does this, does that. He just gets it. He just knows what he needs to do. Similar to a vein like Rhea Ripley in a way. She has that. Velveteen Dream has this. He knows what to do. He knows the nuances that he can do in order to get himself over.
Yeah, and I tell you what is really becoming apparent, and it really struck me watching this match on Saturday.
Mm.
Velveteen Dream has always been tremendous with the character work.
Mm.
I think if there was ever a knock on him, it was the fact that his in-ring work had not progressed at the same rate that his character work had.
Yeah.
But I got to be honest with you, watching this match now, Tommaso Ciampa could make a broomstick look good. So I'm not discounting.
We're not discounting. I think we get the point that we're not really discounting Tommaso Ciampa, because that guy can actually just wrestle, and
Yeah.
I'll save the praises for Ciampa for a little bit more later.
Ciampa is to put it mildly, he's good at what he does.
Yeah.
So that's not taking anything away from Ciampa's contribution to the match, but. Velveteen Dream, he took such a huge leap forward just in terms of his in-ring work. He honestly started to remind me, and I'm not trying to set the bar too high. If Taker manages to catch this, I think he's going to have the light bulb go off, and he's going to know exactly why I'm saying this.
Okay.
He reminds me, Velveteen Dream does, of a 1988 Sting. In his work rate, in his moves, in his agility. He's starting to throw those splashes, those planchas. He's got the elbow, obviously, but he's starting to take advantage of that athleticism. It's like he's starting to put the pieces of the puzzle together. And he's learning how to piece these matches together. And he strikes me as like a young man Sting in the ring right now.
The Beach Boys Sting, correct? If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. We're talking like 88, 89. So
yes.
like Sting, where he's not green as moldy cheddar anymore, but he's not quite like 1991. He's not the finished product yet. Yeah, you can see the spark there, though.
Yeah, I do. I can see that. I can understand that. I mean, like I said. But like I said earlier on, not to knock off on Tommaso Ciampa. He's not to be outdone. I think he's not to be outdone. I think in my position, anyways, I could say that I think he feels like he's one of the most realized characters in the entire scope of WWE. I mean, that's the most real character that you can have coming in to WWE in a way, because he knows exactly what he's going for, what he needs to do to get the point across, and just how to simultaneously be entertaining and be evil. So.
You got that right. He gets in poor Miss Anita's face down at Full Sail, NXT Granny. I mean, come on. You know.
Yeah.
He's a jerk.
He's a jerk, but he's an entertaining jerk, because you want to punch him, but at the same time, he's just delivering his character in such a way that it's just, oh man, you really done good. You really done good on the character work, but man, I would love to punch you in the face.
He does his job so well that he makes you want to see him lose that title.
Yeah.
And I was so close to thinking that Velveteen Dream was going to pull. I actually allowed myself to get suckered in.
It's a thrill ride, I think, because the pacing of the match, like I said, the pacing of the match was great. It never really let up. It always is a thrill ride from start to finish, because you have near falls, but those near falls were perfectly done to be a believable end to the battle, especially at the end where you like you said, Ciampa bullied Ronaldo a little bit and then suddenly get his comeuppance, and like you said, you almost felt that Ciampa might have lost the title there and then. So probably you can work it into another storyline where you can say Dream said that I almost beat you with that elbow. So
I would love to see them go back to it. If they do any more matches in the future, I would not be opposed.
Oh, I'm not against it. I'm not against it, because knowing that now Dream can actually deliver something like that on the main event, probably it's a good safe bet. So I can't say much about it. It's just great watching it. So
fantastic wrestling. That's what wrestling is all about. It's why we're fans. So
yeah, it is. It is why we're fans. So there is that. But in any case, then we come up to the main event. Whoa, yeah.
If Gargano and Black was the quintessential NXT match,
then you have Dream and Ciampa being
which is like kind of like almost like a WWE main event roster style match.
Yeah, in a way.
The emotion of the finishes.
Mm-hmm.
This right here is your car crash. This is everybody's. This is like the hedge rolling down the I-5.
But I can't really say that it's a car crash though, because again, this match actually delivered.
Oh, it was a glorious car crash. It was tremendous. I mean, it's like the Mick Foley car crash where you can't help but watch. You know, it was glorious.
And then okay. Here's the biggest question I have: if it's hard for us to actually judge Dream Ciampa against Gargano Black, what do you rate this one?
I rate this one another cigarette. I'm smoking. I almost needed a damn cigar by the time this show was over. So
oh my God,
it was accumulating up from I could use a cigarette to I really need a cigarette to
My friend actually came up with a good analogy on this one. After War Games, after we done the minute after he went to me and said, WWE should just go ahead and cancel Survivor Series now. Nothing on that card will come close to this. It's a car crash, but a glorious car crash, and we just sucked into it. Hey.
Go home and be a family man. Survivor Series, you ain't got a shot. You're gonna need a bigger boat.
You're gonna need a big. They don't need a bigger boat. They need a bigger Titanic for that matter.
It was so good. Oh my God, it was so good. You can tell the way we're sitting here now. It's all ooh and ah, and when we get to the follow up show on Sunday, it's the running and the screaming and the horror and the gold bloom and. But this is the War Games. I think this year's War Games worked a lot better than last year's. Even though they've got the roof off, there's they don't have the same like brawling mentality that the old ones did. It's not as visceral.
Mm-hmm.
These matches are more about the moments. It's about the dives and the crazy spots that these athletic workers can pull off now, and it's a different quality than the OG War Games. But at the same time, I think that the
different is good. Different is good.
It's a worthy successor to what War Games used to be.
Yeah,
and I know a lot of people weren't as huge a fan of the 3-on-3-on-3 last year. I think 4-on-4 worked much better. I'm still not sold on the shark cages. I kind of wish that they would just have them all at ringside and just let them go in. Maybe put like a second door on the opposite side of the ring.
Probably, yeah. I mean,
it
looks a little bit odd. It looks a little bit odd.
Yeah, and there's that weird delay too, where the countdown will finish. They'll put the spotlight on them, and then the referee takes 5 to 10 seconds to get the cage open because they got to unlock the deadbolt. And it's I don't necessarily care for the shark cage aspect of it, but it's just a minor aesthetic quibble aside to what really was a fantastic match from start to finish.
I mean, sure, you have. Sure, the shark cage played its part when Bobby Fish locked Pete Dunne into the shark cage and then threw away the key, but again...
that is true. That was hilarious, by the way.
That was hilarious, yeah. It was hilarious. I mean, there's a lot of things. I mean, in a way, this was going in, I think in a way, and going out from it was a coming out party for War Raiders. Because this is a trial by fire, and they actually not just went into the fire, they actually swam into the fire. Because Hanson and Rowe hasn't had much of an opportunity to showcase their talent, showcase their ability in the ring, since this was their TakeOver debut. But then again, they actually showed up, and they actually made a lot of an impression. So.
Yep, it was the absolute best type of match for these 8 men on either side. Nobody came out looking worse for wear. Everybody benefited from this match at the end.
Yes,
even the Undisputed Era, they came out looking even better than they did going in. So it's everybody wins type match.
Yep. Somehow, I think the best part of it, I think if I remember correctly, Hanson somehow pulling off a handspring double back elbow. That was Wow. Dude is big, but dude is athletic as fuck.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting that. That was a surprise.
There's a lot of styles you can see. There's high risk maneuvers coming out. There's incredible storytelling. There's your basic Haas fight that you want to see in it a little bit more. But there's a lot of mix. There's a mixture of what you like. You have Pete Dunne, who is a star. You have Ricochet's ability to throw his body around the ring, and then it was Hansen, and then again Hansen, like I said, using his size and agility to pummel the opposition. So, I mean, God, I mean, again, like I said, very, very earlier on, I may not like Adam Cole, but I give him credit for his work in the Undisputed Era, because NXT had booked Undisputed Era as close as we ever gotten to, say, Four Horsemen, I can say, arguably, in a way.
Yeah, it was just an absolute fantastic match from start to finish. I think that the War Raiders looked tremendous. I think that obviously Pete Dunne and Ricochet finishing the match like they did, they had a great showing. Adam Cole, to me, is going to be a main event superstar in the WWE. Mm-hmm. I honestly believe. I know people look at him and they think that maybe he's too small, and for some reason there are people that are just not sold on him. But you watch this match, and I'm like, you have to appreciate how good of a heel he can be.
Yeah,
I mean, it's insane how talented he actually is. I love the match with Ricochet in Brooklyn. And he had a great match with Aleister Black in Philadelphia. Adam Cole has been quietly having an MVP caliber year himself in the ring.
Yeah, in a way. I mean,
he's lost a lot. I mean, he won the ladder match in New Orleans, but he's gotten his ass kicked a lot in the interim. So
yeah.
He's dying for our sins, and it's so glorious to see.
It is. I can't say much against it, but I like it. I mean, yeah, that means I had to give credit where credit's due on Mr. Adam Cole, but I can give it. I mean, I don't want to nitpick on it too much. I mean, there's not much to nitpick. It's rarity to not have anything to nitpick. Because we both know that the NXT's track record of putting on wonderful pay-per-view shows, wonderful takeovers.
I just wonder. I honestly, I told this to Greg off the air on Wednesday when we got done recording. I don't know. You know, I'm looking forward to Phoenix, which is our next takeover special in January.
Yeah,
because the shows have earned my faith at this point that it's going to be amazing. I don't even need to know what the card's going to be. I just know that it's going to be incredible. And but in the back of my mind, I'm just sitting here wondering, how much longer can they go with this streak? Like, can they keep it going indefinitely? Or will they run into a point where they're not able to keep the same high standard? Because you have to think, each takeover is building off of the last.
Yeah.
And we've had, how many takeovers this year alone were considered possible contenders for the best takeover of all time?
There's a lot. I mean, we already tossed up about what? We already tossed up about 4 takeovers, and we have our own versions of which takeovers are the best.
Yeah. And, you know, I mean, people thought New Orleans was one of the best of all time. There's some people that thought Brooklyn 4 was the best. There's people that are saying this one was the best.
Yeah. And you can't say that they're wrong, because that's how they marketed it. That's how they put the whole pay-per-view on it, because that's what the bar was set for takeover, I believe. I would love to say that this is the bar. That was the standard that they wanted to go. If they don't really hit it, they still manage to actually go on par with it, if not surpass it. So, and there are moments that I admit that there is one takeover where we said, oh, this is actually pretty below average, not up to the standard that we actually think takeover was. So.
Yeah, well, I mean, it certainly wasn't War Games. It was War Games with everything. It should have been it more. So.
It wasn't War Games, yeah. War Games definitely wasn't the low point. This is actually a good, good hard hitting match from start to finish. The card was good. I mean, there's not, like I said, there's no nitpick. I can't nitpick on which one's the worst. You can't really point to me and say, okay, this match is the worst. No. I mean, in this case, coming out from it, I can definitely say that, okay, maybe Kairi Sane and Shayna Baszler could be the worst, because it's not because of the fact that the match was bad. It's just unfortunate that somehow Johnny Gargano and Aleister Black made chicken salad out of good chicken salad, and then suddenly Ciampa and Black outdone themselves again. They say, "Oh, you did this, well, we can do better." And then suddenly the main event went with main event. So good.
It was from start to finish. Takeover War Games 2 was kind of like the embodiment of the perfect wrestling show. Mm-hmm. It built every match you saw was entertaining in its own way, but it felt like it built and built and built and built. You know, it was just the perfect length. It never wore out its welcome. Yeah. And after the fact, like, we're sitting here a week later, and we're still just like beside ourselves, gushing over the show because it was so good to watch. Mm-hmm. You know, it's a testament to what NXT have been able to accomplish. Triple H and his crew, they deserve a metric ton of credit.
Yep, they did.
They've done something really special here.
Yeah, they did. They did. Oh my God. I mean, I can't really say it, because this is the highest of high, maybe going in the coming weeks, and it's unfortunate that, like my good friend said, you should cancel Survivor Series immediately if NXT Takeover War Games is doing this, because just no. I mean, before that, I actually sent you something about Roman Reigns, though. At least he's doing good. Joe Anoa'i is looking good.
That is good.
He's looking good. He went to Georgia Tech football, and he actually posted something on Georgia Tech actually posted something for him, so on Twitter. He's looking good. He's looking good.
Oh, and speaking of Roman Reigns, I want to throw this in there too, because I saw this yesterday, and I didn't see it get a lot of play on the websites. I'm thinking because the long holiday weekend. Mm-hmm. Kudos to the Tennessee Titans, the NFL franchise in Nashville. They put a video out supporting Roman Reigns, and apparently made a donation in his honor. I know the Staples Center did so as well. Mm-hmm. So kudos to them. I thought that was awesome. But it's good to see Roman Reigns out and about, even if he does have a really crappy alma mater in Georgia Tech.
Come on.
No, I can't let Georgia Tech. You can tell if they went to Georgia Tech because they signed their name in crayon. But no, I completely kid. It is so good to see Roman out and about, and
he's looking good. He's looking good. I mean,
yeah,
he's looking good. I can't say much about it. If he's looking good, he's going out. I think it's a month. It's been a month since, I think.
It's been close to a month. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been close to a month since we last seen him, and suddenly he has this, and he looks good. So yeah.
I tell you what, as soon as he left the show, I mean, if anybody ever doubted what Roman Reigns was bringing to the Monday nights, there has been a noticeable hole that they have not filled since he left. And like people, I think even people that weren't really his biggest fans, I think took for granted what he actually meant to that brand.
We told you. We told a lot of people. You never know what you got until it's gone. And well,
I speak for everybody. Roman, please come back as soon as possible. You know,
he'll come back. He'll definitely.
You beat this, and you come back and save us from the tedium that is Monday nights. So,
I can't wait to hear the pop that is eventually gonna come when he comes back.
Oh God, Pat Patterson. In the words of Pat Patterson, they're gonna go banana.
They're gonna go banana. So, I mean, but dude, we stretched this on far enough. We gotta talk about Survivor Series. We gotta.
Do we have to?
We gotta.
We can.
It's our obligation to actually just tell what's happening, or what happened on pay-per-views. I mean, we don't have to, considering the fact that we actually didn't say anything about blood money. So there is that. But
okay. If it's a choice between Blood Money or Survivor Series, we can do Survivor Series.
Exactly. There you go. Like I was just about to go to. If I give you the choice to sit down and talk about Blood Money or Survivor Series, which one would you prefer? Of course, the answer would be.
Oh, I didn't watch Blood Money. So
of course, we didn't. We all didn't.
It wasn't even so much of a principal thing for me. I just couldn't be asked to watch it. So I didn't care. I really didn't. I
didn't care about it all. It's a glorified house show with legends. I can watch that on WWE Network if I was subscribed to it. I can watch it. I can watch back on old school WWE or old school WWF for that matter. That would have been hell of a lot better. But I digress.
We talked about this before we went on the air, and it is pertinent to say, Survivor Series is very much a tale of two cities, because if you just look at the quality of the in-ring work, there were some really good matches.
They were. I won't deny they were.
We talked about the opener on the pre-show, the tag match. Once they cleared out some of the deadwood, and it got down to like the last 4 teams on either side, or 4 teams left, the last 2 on either side, it became one of the most fun matches of the night. I mean, we're going to talk about Ronda and Charlotte. Obviously, they had a hell of a brawl.
Yeah, of course we're gonna have to talk about that too. Daniel Bryan, Brock Lesnar, of course.
Very fun match and everything. But as much as the card was interesting from just like a sheer entertainment perspective, it was the booking. The booking of the show, it defied belief. I don't know what drugs they're on, but they need to get off of them. It just, and the women's elimination match is where it all really started to go wrong, because the pre-show, the tag match on the pre-show was good, but they wasted no freaking time on the women's elimination match within the first 30 seconds of just starting to tank the booking of the show. So,
I mean, where should I begin? I mean, I know where I should begin. I know where I should start, because, of course, I'm going to have to start on the 10-on-10 Tag Team Traditional Survivor Series elimination match. But where should I start on the whole car crash? This is a car crash I do not want to watch. I mean, on a negative point, I'll go with a nitpick to begin with. There was so much cannon fodder in this one. The entire first half was all cannon fodder and cannon fodder and cannon fodder. And I know you're going to hate me for disliking me for saying this, but the Lucha House Party was bad.
No, I'm not a fan of Lucha House Party.
It was just bad.
I don't understand why they have to have the piñatas. That feels like it feels like a step back for me.
Yeah, in a way. But with that being said, with that aside, they don't really seem to gel up. They don't really seem to gel up with any of their opponents. I mean, they tried, but they didn't. They didn't do it any.
Yeah,
because the whole thing, if you know for the first half, it's going to be the whole build up to the New Day and the Usos, coming down to just New Day, the Usos, but Raw represented by the Revival at the end. Okay, imagine how good this would have been if it's just the Revival versus the Usos or New Day, either the Usos or New Day.
You know what? I mean, it's like I told you a few minutes ago. Once they whittled it down to like the last 4 teams, when they got down to Gable and Rude, who have really gelled nicely, I thought. They've kind of made like a serviceable team out of it. But once you got down to those last 4 teams, the match really picked up. Yes. I mean, even the Revival were pulling out the flippy moves.
Yeah.
Scott Dawson hit a freaking suicide dive. I mean, my God. Scott Dawson's leaving his feet. We're going crazy here.
Exactly. I mean, the first half was cannon fodder show, and then the second half of it was classic tag team. It's just classic. But I wanted to point out that it's rare to be able to say that sometimes, because usually in our cases anyway, we always say that the pre-show is that, well, you can skip the pre-show and you're not going to miss anything about it. But for me personally, I think during the 2 hours of the whole, there's an angle being done to kick Ruby Riott and Natalya off the team after a fight broke out between the two, and then that led up to Sasha Banks and Bayley being their replacements. So that was a nice way to spice things up, because and in a rare move by WWE, they worked with the logic of how Riott and Natalya shouldn't be able to coexist on the same team. Continuity in a WWE show. Applause should be given, even if it's just one moment where they actually think, "Oh, this is not logic." So
I'll give them a golf clap. I'm not gonna celebrate their.
No, I'm not. It's worth pointing out. And then there's also another hilarious backstage segment where R-Truth was trying to be the final member of SmackDown's women's team, which was just good for more than just a laugh or a chuckle. I mean, it just established Naomi as the new captain and then addressed the missing teammate by announcing Mandy Rose as a fifth member. So, there's that.
I was on pins and needles when I heard that Mandy Rose had been added to the show.
I mean, but the positive I can say is that for once, if you skip the pre-show, you actually miss a few interesting things instead of just an hour or two of nothing. At least,
yeah.
At least that's worth saying. That's worth saying. And that's just me trying to squeeze a rock out of water. So there's that.
Yeah, I mean, it's worth going out of your way to watch if you didn't get a chance to watch it. It's not like gonna blow your mind away or anything, but
yeah,
it's a fun match for what it is on the pre-show. And it was really the high water mark as far as the booking went, because it was kind of downhill from there. So.
Yeah. Let's start.
Hold on to your butts. This is where it gets rough, folks.
Yep. Low point. As much as I try to milk a positive out of the kickoff show, the kickoff tag team match didn't really matter to WWE. It's inconsequential.
It didn't exist.
It didn't exist. Everything that happened on the kickoff doesn't exist. Saying that Team SmackDown's win didn't count towards the final result. Not only is that a slap in the face of everyone who performed there in the kickoff, it's also a slap to people who actually bothered to watch the kickoff show, me included. So,
oh Lord, yeah. I mean, I watched it too, and it was kind of perplexing why they wouldn't acknowledge this match. But I mean, at least Xavier got a good T-shirt out of it on SmackDown. So
yes,
the 6-1 T-shirt, I thought that was comic gold.
Yeah, it was comic gold, comedy gold. There, I mean, if that was being said, that also actually another example of how WWE doesn't really give a shit about a tag team division. This is exactly the type of stupid decision company's been making this year. Makes people question if there's it makes people question if there's someone in the company who's trying to screw things up by doing things that make no sense. Which par for the course, this is WWE. You would think, yeah.
Yeah, you would think, and judging by some of the evidence that's been left around on the TV shows, you would have reason to question it legitimately. So.
Yeah. I mean, hold on to your butts. That's one of the low point. Here's a mixture of highs and lows. We have a 5-on-5 women's elimination match. For the most part, if I wanted to go on a positive note, initially, the women's traditional elimination match was a success. Although it started off in a bad way. You eliminate Naomi so fast. Oh boy, eliminating Naomi so fast, because I feel in a way that I said, I would say that maybe they wanted to tell that maybe SmackDown women's division will be lost without its team captain, but that didn't really translate so well because there's never a lack of cohesion to begin with.
Well, let's break this down piecemeal here for a second.
Okay, let's go piecemeal.
Let's be brutally honest.
Okay,
and this is no disrespect to Lana, It's no disrespect to Mandy Rose. I'm sure they are fantastic, wonderful people in real life. And it's no disrespect to Carmella either. Carmella has done a lot to improve.
Yeah.
In no universe should Naomi have been the first woman eliminated from this match. It is an abomination of desolation that perhaps the second most talented performer in the entire match was eliminated first. Okay, that is a joke. It validates every complaint that Naomi's fans have about the way they treat her. And this is the reason why I have been on the Turner heel train. I know that there was some controversy over the last time that she was a heel. But I feel like there's a different way they could do it this time that would at least get her a chance to break out. Because whether or not you are a fan of Naomi or not, you have to recognize that she does have talent.
She does.
And she deserves so much better than she's gotten.
I mean, she improved. Here's the thing: she improved from being one half of the Funkadactyls to a SmackDown Women's Champion, a one-time SmackDown Women's Champion.
I'm thankful that Naomi had her moment in Orlando at WrestleMania 33 because nobody will ever take that away from her.
Of course, history has spoken.
Well,
history has been pointed out. So,
well, I don't know. I don't know if it's just they need to trade her back to Raw and get her away from the SmackDown creative team and see if that'll do the trick or what. I don't know where you go. Like the Asuka pairing with Naomi to me is a non-starter. It feels like a waste of both women, to be honest. I feel like both could be doing a lot better. But I don't care where they go. But Naomi does not need to be eliminated in 30 freaking seconds. Because there ain't no damn universe that Mandy Rose should be surviving beyond Naomi. There ain't no damn universe that Lana should be surviving. You're actively hurting your match by leaving the weaker workers in there and sending the good one home.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Among a couple of other questionable things that they did. And then you have the underdog idea getting balanced out with Tamina getting eliminated. So that's another questionable decision. Why do you eliminate Tamina if you want to build up Tamina versus Nia Jax? Oh, hold on to your butts. We haven't really even touched on Nia Jax anyway, but let's get to one piece by piece a little bit. Why do you, if you thought that you wanted to do the underdog move with SmackDown Women's side, where Naomi got eliminated early, their team captain got eliminated early and done dirty, as Madeline Lenoir said in the chat, why do you need to eliminate Tamina as well? That's one of your hard-hitting strong women in the division, SmackDown's division anyway. That didn't translate well. That just made those two look bad. So
yeah, this is, I think, a representation of, I'll choose my words here very carefully. This is everything wrong with the women's evolution movement in a nutshell, because this is the kind of booking that predates the women's evolution. This is how they used to book women's matches, to just be like complete fly-by-night operations.
Yeah, and
it's a disservice to the talent of the women involved. They're so much better than what they get. It's just lazy writing. I think it's lazy booking. It's lazy match agenting. It's people not giving a damn. Look, I'm not a Tamina fan. I'm not even the biggest Naomi fan. I just think they could get more out of her by actually, doing something with her.
Yeah,
but I mean, whether or not I'm a fan of somebody or not, I recognize when people are getting screwed over here. Exactly. And I'm not a Tamina fan, but she got done dirty. Naomi got done like triple damn dirty.
Exactly.
I mean, it was just a catastrophic failure to take advantage of the fact that you have a women's division now on both shows that can kick copious amounts of ass if you will let them.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, this match could have been put together so much nicer. You didn't have to eliminate Naomi with a roll up in 30 seconds. She could have contributed to the match.
Yeah, I mean, and I agree. And I agree with the point. Naomi was the first ever FCW Women's Champion. She was always good in the ring. They simply misused her when they called up into the main roster. So, yeah. Okay, but in any case, and at least it was good to see Mandy Rose steal an elimination from Sonya Deville. Maybe pushing Mandy Rose's character as a main vain heel who's looking for as much of the spotlight as she can, even if she has to kind of shun aside her former best friend for it, which is okay. That's good storytelling, but not much. Number one. And number two plus point, Asuka looked the most energetic she has been since WrestleMania 34, where she was beaten by Charlotte.
Yeah, we talked about it earlier. She never got on track after she lost to Charlotte in New Orleans, so this was good to see her get some fire back.
Exactly.
But damn, did it sputter to an end when she ran into the immovable brick wall that is Nia Jax.
Oh, especially in opposition, yeah. The crowd was especially hot for Asuka, which, like I said, and then, yeah, like you said, especially when she ran into the immovable force that is Nia Jax, which explains why she was booked as a sole survivor. WWE is trying to turn the skid with the Becky Lynch injury. They want to give Nia Jax as much heat as possible to build interest in the match against Ronda Rousey at TLC.
It's not going to work. It's not going to work.
I'll reserve judgment on that one, but
here's the problem with Nia Jax. That wasn't like Kevin Owens or Elias level heat. Like, ooh, I want to see Nia Jax get her ass beat. That was, I want to see Nia Jax jump into the La Brea tar pits and go away. Like that was toxic heat. That wasn't positive heat. And I know people are saying, well, there's no difference. And on some level, they're right. Like Vince McMahon, he's just going to hear the noise. And there's probably no other way outside of maybe suspending her or sending her down developmental that you could have done this. You had to turn into the skid. Otherwise, it was just going to eat Nia Jax up. Okay, I understand that argument. But the problem here, this is toxic heat. Like, this crowd is molten against Nia on a deeply personal level.
Is it still because of the punch that she sent off against Becky Lynch?
It was, oh yeah, because it wasn't. See, this is what I think got lost when people were upset when it actually happened. You know, just because the rumors are circulating that Becky Lynch is going to be getting the main event at WrestleMania now with Ronda Rousey, that doesn't justify what happened with Ronda. And it doesn't mean that Becky Lynch is going to come out of this on the top. I mean, Becky Lynch has still not been cleared. And it looks like she's not going to be cleared for a while yet. So, you know, concussions and the broken nose, we're going to wait and see how long Becky's actually going to miss. But it was the fact that, number one, it wasn't like an accidental shot. It wasn't like she caught her with an elbow because she wasn't looking. Like, it was just like a scrum and people were all in there. The punch looked like it had intent because Nia threw it looking like as hard as she could. WWE done her dirty in the respect of singling her out. They slow motioned it and they're like, look what Nia Jax did. You know, it's like they're not trying to hide from it.
Yeah.
But then you had everybody came out on social media. Almost none of Nia's peers defended her. Nobody came to Nia's defense like they did Brie Bella. When Brie Bella kicked the crap out of Liv Morgan, you had wrestlers like Tommy Dreamer come out and say, look, accidents happen. It's not Brie Bella's fault. Don't jump down Brie's throat. When Sasha Banks and Paige had the incident last year, people were quick to jump to Sasha's defense. It was a freak accident. It could have happened to anybody. Nia Jax did not have that here. People were not. There were people, Carmella, Sasha Banks, Bayley, and, of course, Becky Lynch, who obviously had a right to be pissed off. They were liking negative posts from fans directed at Nia Jax. So, I mean, there are substantial numbers of WWE performers in the locker room that were against Nia for this, on top of the rumors that she had heat. So, yeah,
I
you
mean,
put all of those factors together, the crowds are going to hate Nia in a very toxic way. The problem with sustaining that long term, once the crowds realize that Nia is getting a push out of this, that toxic heat is going to evaporate into silence because they don't want to see her succeed, and they're going to catch on quick. The louder they boo her, the more she's going to get pushed, and I think that Nia is going to fall really flat in a hurry. It's just not sustainable heat. It's not good heat. It's go away heat, and that kind of heat never works out good in the long term for people.
I mean, I hate to kind of like jump on the bandwagon and say stuff like how to say, yeah, she deserves this kind of reaction because she did that. We're not saying that. We're not saying that that is exactly what she should be expected to receive, because like you said, accidents do happen, but sometimes shit like that gets mistranslated, misconstrued, or misunderstood in any case possible. But if that action elicits that amount of reaction to the thing, I mean, you're definitely going to say that if you want to toss in Nia Jax versus Ronda Rousey, that's not going to do well. I'm being positive.
I don't know. I just
the only positive I can give coming out from it, if anything, this match did a fantastic job of making me hope for an eventual Asuka versus Sasha Banks match.
Now that was fantastic. Yeah, that was great.
Yeah. So I hope that happened. I think that had happened, if I remember correctly, but I may be wrong. History dictates that sometimes my memory slips my mind.
Well, yeah, it would be nice to get another match. Asuka and Sasha had a really good match back in February on Raw. It'd be nice to see that again. It'd be nice to see Sasha and Bayley wrestle someone other than the Riot Squad.
That is true.
Can we all agree that the Riot Squad and Sasha and Bayley need different opponents?
They need different opponents stat. Stat.
So.
Okay, here's another one of those 50-50 things. Seth Rollins versus Shinsuke Nakamura. The match was fantastic. The only low point I can get, and this is a terrible low point in my opinion anyways, Nakamura takes another loss.
Honest to God, I think Nakamura's gone in January. I think he's back to New Japan. So
I'll put you this. For months, Shinsuke Nakamura has been nothing. He has held the United States title, but he hasn't had a single feud and has only sparingly been used, mostly to be cannon fodder to someone else. The United States champion, ladies and gentlemen, being fed to some other people on the lower card or upper card than him, just being positioned to lose. Whatever killed WWE to have him win against Seth Rollins on Survivor Series? Where would it have been? I mean, I penciled him as the one to win when I predicted this. Well, we predicted this anyways. Nakamura to win because Dean Ambrose suddenly came in. Dean Ambrose didn't came in, I think, if I remember correctly. Anyway.
Yeah. It's just depressing as a fan of Shinsuke Nakamura to see what's become of him.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll ask you this question. I've asked a couple of people this question over the last week.
Mm-hmm.
Knowing now, well, obviously hindsight being 2020, knowing now what was going to become of AJ Styles' title reign, to me, I personally think that given the fact that they had no real grand end strategy for the title, they just hot-shotted it the week before Survivor Series in kind of a random nothing spot. They should have put the title on Nakamura at least for a little while. Maybe let AJ win it back at SummerSlam. Sacrifice the Samoa Joe program for next year or something and give Nakamura his moment in the sun. Because given the fact that AJ's title reign was almost a mid-card afterthought all year anyways, given the fact that it was always in the mid-card of the pay-per-views and they always put the Universal title over it, would it really have hurt things if Nakamura had won the title at WrestleMania and gotten a 3 or 4 month run with it? Would it have cheapened Daniel Bryan getting the title back that much? I mean, think about it. Both Rumble winners lost. Both Rumble winners in 2018 failed at WrestleMania. I know that was painful for you to relive right there, but
it's just too painful.
Asuka failed. She lost to Charlotte. Shinsuke Nakamura failed. I mean, yes, he invented Dick Kick City, but
that's pretty much it. You're gonna remember King of Strong Style as the coordinator, the creator of Dick Kick City, and even Dick Kick City is not his. It's some YouTuber who talks about wrestling named Brian Zane out there.
The one and only, the one true King of Dong Style. I mean, it was...
King of Dong Style is Joey Ryan.
I refuse to acknowledge Joey Ryan's existence. As far as I'm concerned, Joey Ryan has died at All In.
Okay. So King of Dong Style is Brian Zane. Shout out to Brian Zane. Now he's rechristed as King of Dong Style too. In Biff size anyways.
The one true king, you know, Ricochet's theme is the one and only. He's now the one and only King of Dong Style. You know.
Fine. Would it have, like I said, would it have killed WWE to have him win against Seth Rollins? At least. And it would have been hard. It wouldn't have been hard to set up because you already have a built-in way to keep Rollins looking strong and excuse the babyface coming up short. You have Dean Ambrose. Had Dean Ambrose interfered to cost Rollins the match, it would have been predictable, of course, but it would have given Nakamura his first positive in months and helped build more heat towards the inevitable clash between Rollins and Ambrose at TLC. What this one means, in my eyes anyway, is that WWE decided to really push home the point that Nakamura isn't really as important in comparison to Seth Rollins, as if anyone needed that to be reminded of again, especially in my eyes anyways. So.
Well, see, your first mistake was bringing logic and reason into this. That's where you went wrong.
I have to. Supposedly I am the laid-back guy who sees everything in logical terms, but yes, I know the old adage comes up. This is WWE we're talking about here.
It's frustrating. It's disappointing. I thought the match was pretty good, but I gotta be honest with you. I just did not care. They've just sapped the energy out of me so much. Because, I mean, what is Nakamura doing now? He goes back to doing nothing. And Seth Rollins, Dean Ambrose, I mean, yeah, the Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins matches are probably going to be pretty good. They keep making these comments about Roman Reigns and his leukemia and these promos, and it almost sours you on the whole thing. And it's, I don't know. I think Nakamura would have been better off with the win, but that's only because Nakamura is basically a non-factor.
Yeah, because I mean, we predicted that. Dean Ambrose is going to interfere, of course, and give Nakamura his first win, but at least it gives Nakamura a win. Sure, it's a predictable win, but it's a win nonetheless, rather than months of him doing nothing, months of him doing negative things. So,
alas, I mean, we are where we are. I mean, it's just gonna.
Oh,
it's just gonna continue. So.
We haven't really finished yet. Another point. AOP versus The Bar.
Oh God.
Yep.
Oh.
We're going down on the deep end here. I think the deepest end. I believe it's the deepest. No, not yet. Not yet the deepest end. We're going in the deep end now.
Get your floaties on, kids.
Get your waterproof clothes on. Get your diapers on if you're one of the guys. Hopefully, whoever thought it was a good idea to have Drake Maverick wet himself got a good laugh out of it and is okay with making a joke of this segment.
Yeah, that was so bad. So bad. Like, way to kill the credibility of your second best GM in the company right now.
Yeah.
It's just, honestly, the match itself was garbage. The Enzo Amore crowd spot was garbage.
I mean, the only thing that came out from it for Raw is that, the chance to AOPP is evident, which just no, just.
Exactly. We had the same damn reaction. That damn sigh of, resignation.
What the hell am I watching? So
exactly.
Okay. I mean, no, is a laughing stock. So now the Babyface 205 Live general manager now is a laughing stock. So which only hurt the authors of pain for being associated with Drake Maverick. So that did no favors to both teams, anyways, because, like I said earlier on, WWE doesn't really care about the tag team division. This shows.
Yeah, big neon letters. We don't give a damn.
We don't give a damn. All this did was give those with a lowbrow sense of humor, the ones who punch below the belt, for that matter, just a momentary chuckle and further prove again. Like I said, tag teams in WWE is worthless, and to the people calling the shots, tag teams don't matter anymore.
Has it ever been adequately explained why Big Show is even with the Bar right now?
No.
Is it going to be? No, probably not.
Probably not. Yeah, I'd give you $10 for that. The answer. I mean, I already given the answer. I already found out the answer in the Smackdown thing, but Smackdown week. But like I said, this is Survivor Series is a show where the things are made up and the points do not matter. So we are here now. At least one. At least here, one highlight, one plus point that I can give. At least the Cruiserweight Championship match was good, was great. It received a "This is awesome" chant. Well, it gets a thumbs up, so it's good. To no surprise whatsoever, George, I mean, our brother from LIP, George, has always espoused the fact that 205 Live has been the brand with the most consistent, high-quality in-ring action. These two guys have been at the forefront of those amazing matches. I always, whenever I have the chance to watch it and whenever I have the chance to praise and compliment the whole thing, yes, I agree. 205 Live has been the most consistent with the high-quality in-ring action that they can milk out of from their cruiserweights. And both Buddy Murphy and Mustafa Ali had been in the forefront of those amazing matches. So
they have. Mm-hmm. They really have. I mean, it's the three MVPs of 205 Live in 2018 have been Cedric Alexander, Buddy Murphy, and Mustafa Ali. Mm-hmm. And Drake Maverick has been a very strong GM on that brand. Yeah. So kudos to him for really turning his turning the show around in terms of giving it like an authority presence that it lacked beforehand.
Even if now he's the laughingstock of the GMs now.
Yeah, because they pissed it all away.
He literally pissed him. They literally gave him the piss. So.
Yep, that's exactly what they did. So.
Mm-hmm. But that aside, top to bottom, this match between Ali and Murphy had great pacing, and the energy was infectious because the crowd popped for all of the high-flying maneuvers and athleticism between the two cruiserweights. I mean, to the surprise of no one in particular who watched it, because this has been the staple of 205 Live. We are delivering cruiserweights, and we are delivering high quality, high risk move sets and maneuvers that can only be seen on the cruiserweight division in WWE.
Yep, this was the exact type of match they needed to have because they got off the pre-show. It was a showcase on the actual main card and they won the crowd over. The crowd, they slowly won that crowd over, and that's exactly what they needed to do. Mustafa Ali he reminds me of like a young Seth Rollins. He's like that 5-tool player that's going to like put it all together one day and really explode and just be like this huge star because he's just got that magnetic personality that people gravitate towards. And Buddy Murphy, can't say enough good things about him. Juggernaut is absolutely incredible. If we're just looking at the match itself from a pure work rate perspective, Murphy Ali might have been the best match on the Survivor Series card.
So. I'd say you're right on the money with that. I mean, most people don't even know that this is the norm, that 205 Live has been churning, because they're unaware of what they're missing because there's no effort given to push 205 Live to the general audience and convince them that this is the product that you should watch. It's a shame.
It really is. It really is. Greg and I talk about this. I mean, we had a choice. We could have covered anything we wanted to on our show. Greg talked about 205 Live and NXT because he loved watching those shows. Those shows each week, you are guaranteed at least one really fantastic match a week on 205 Live. Sometimes you get 2, and sometimes you get even 3. But it's just such a breezy watch each week. It is the antithesis of Raw, where Raw almost feels like a slog to get through. 205 Live is just in and out before it can wear out its welcome. But they're telling stories now. They have layers to the card. They've got a mid-card scene developing. They've got a main event picture taking shape. There's just so much to love about 205 Live, and that's why we do Grounds for Development. In part, to share that love. Yeah, because you need to share this kind of thing out to the general public. Because this is exactly what you need to watch. This is exactly what you need to watch in a WWE brand product. This kind of matches that are consistent, delivers high quality in-ring action, and you have interesting characters, compelling characters in both Buddy Ali and Mustafa Ali in a way, and Cedric Alexander, if you want to add that one to the post. Yeah, I mean, I'm a Cedric mark because hometown hero and everything. So. Hey, it's not a bad thing. It's not a bad reason to support the guy. No, he's freaking awesome. He's not just a scrub. I mean, he's Cedric Alexander, but those three have been just absolutely killing it all year long. Tony Nese taking a big step up this year. TJP has kind of recaptured some of what he had lost a couple of years ago. Drew Gulak had a banner year. There's a lot to love about 205 Live. This is a perfect appetizer. If you didn't get a chance to watch Survivor Series Live, or if you haven't seen this match because you may have skipped it, if you don't watch 205 Live, watch Mustafa Ali and Buddy Murphy. That's a great primer on the kind of quality you get on 205 Live each week. That's true. There's not much to say. It's a high point. I think if you're watching Survivor Series and dredging it up, this is the highlight. This is the high point that that we're desperately trying to find, and this is one of the highlights. I think that's what I feel anyway. And then suddenly we're gonna go down on the deep end with a 5-on-5 men's elimination. Oh, back down the crapper. Yep. I'll start. If WWE's goal for this event was to make sure everybody knew SmackDown was the B show, that mission is accomplished. And this match is your proof, is your final nail in the coffin for it. This is it. This was painful, dude. This match was painful to watch. If I were to give a grade on this, I wouldn't want to give a grade because this was a one-sided ass-kicking by Team Raw that just, like I said, just further cemented the idea that Raw is the superior brand to SmackDown. Interesting, isn't it? Because we tend to forget that Fox spent just over $1 billion to acquire the rights to SmackDown. You know what? I'll tell you what really kills me about this match. And it was the same the whole night through. Raw was the heel. Whenever there was a Raw versus SmackDown showcase, SmackDown was the baby faces. People booed Raw, and yet Raw sweeps SmackDown. Because, screw you, Blue Brand, for having the gall to get over.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm going to treat you like the little redheaded stepchild that you are.
There you go, yeah. Treat you like the redheaded stepchild. That's it. I mean, even with all the dissension on the Raw side somehow there's factions and factions and factions on the Raw side. That matter really just swept under the rug, and they're okay. Let's be a team, fight against SmackDown. SmackDown.
Hell, the only time SmackDown had a chance in the damn match was when Raw started fighting each other.
Exactly.
When Raw was united, SmackDown was getting its ass kicked.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't start eliminating people until Raw started attacking each other.
And you know the reason why? I'll give you one of the reason why that I actually saw, because the other team, the Red Brand over there, because the other team right there had 3 big men who needed protection. Obviously. Obvious. It's just so goddamn obvious. Don't think that's the case? Okay, don't think that's the case? Look at the 2 guys who were eliminated. Finn Balor, Dolph Ziggler. Not exactly the McMahon-style big men that we all know he likes. And then you have stipulations. You have stipulations. You just had to know that Raw had to win. Raw had to win. You just had to win. And then speaking of the legitimizing SmackDown, why did it have to be Shane McMahon that was the last man standing for SmackDown?
Why? Yeah. Because screw you, that's why.
Would it have killed SmackDown to put a fighting Samoan submission killing machine in that position? Fighting,
well, obviously,
fending off.
Joe was needed back in catering. So.
Just fending off the 3 big men of Raw, fighting until he could not fight anymore for the brand that he calls home. Apparently so. Because he was dismissed early and treated like a complete joke. Because, like you said, catering needed Samoa Joe quite early. So
let's be completely unequivocal here. This was a dumpster fire. It was a dumpster fire from start to finish.
If you think that the 5-on-5 women was curiously booked like a complete joke, this was worse. This was worse, and the booking of this made no sense for SmackDown. It did no favors to SmackDown. It put all the emphasis on Raw and left a bad taste in my mouth. It left a bad sense of feeling in my stomach because, I just feel sick. I just
it's that nasty aftertaste in your mouth is the just the joys of WWE booking here.
Mm-hmm.
So
because the only takeaways, it just much like the women's match that I said earlier on. Was solely a vehicle to push Nia Jax over, in a sense, just to push Nia Jax. The same thing happened here with the surviving members of Team Raw. It's clearly the only takeaways creative wanted the audience to have was Strowman and McIntyre were big men and big powerful men. Baron Corbin is a jerk. They value Bobby Lashley more than everyone on SmackDown by not even having him take a pin. So. After doing this time and time again, though, Biff, and they still say, and they will still be confused. Why few people are tuning on SmackDown Live?
I wonder.
I wonder. Yeah.
What a mystery. I don't know. Honest to goodness, I got done watching this elimination match and I was like, well, you just destroy the drawing power of anybody on SmackDown.
Yeah.
No, they will never be taken seriously
ever again.
Talent. Yeah. I mean, they're
for this year anyway, for this 2 months, for this coming 2 months anyway.
It's a complete it's a complete scrub brand. because as soon as Raw stopped fighting amongst themselves, they went back to dominating. I mean, SmackDown was a bunch of jabrones, unless Raw was fighting himself.
Yeah.
Literally, as soon as Braun Strowman got back in the match and Raw stopped beating the piss out of each other, SmackDown was done in like 3 minutes.
Yeah, in a way. Okay. I mean, what else am I supposed to say? This was bad. This match was bad.
It was bad. It was just
skip it. Don't watch it again.
This is the tire fire of the show.
This is the tire. This is a tire upon tires of dumpster fires. Please, just if you had the not the audacity, if you had the unfortunate point of actually watching this, I'm sorry that you did.
Sympathy cards were in the mail.
So there you go. I mean, okay, let's just talk about one other point. Probably highlight point, I guess. Charlotte Flair versus Ronda Rousey.
I liked it. I thought that on the short notice, given the fact that we were all kind of hoping to see Becky get the moment, I think Charlotte had a really unenviable task.
Of trying to kind of say, step out from the shadow of Becky Lynch that she had spread off over somehow in the span of like 2-3 months now.
Yeah,
the shadow of Becky Lynch, the focus on Becky Lynch has spread up like wildfire, and I don't disagree with her. She has a really unenviable task to follow through upon replacing Becky Lynch, who was injured. And I'm happy to say, actually, yeah, not only was the match great, the heel turn post-match beatdown was not superbly done, not flawlessly done, but just right. I mean, it feels just right. Charlotte looked like a woman possessed as she unleashed on Rousey, like hitting her with weapons, assaulting her on a level unlike anything you've seen before. I mean, this wasn't the Charlotte Flair that you thought. This wasn't the Charlotte Flair you thought like a year ago or 2 years ago. This wasn't her. This really wasn't her.
This was, I think, given what happened to Charlotte in the Becky feud, as you were kind of alluding to, I think this was the best possible thing that could have happened to Charlotte, because it's a reset now for her to go a different direction. Mm-hmm. I don't know what that direction is going to be exactly. It wasn't exactly clear on SmackDown if she was going to be a psychotic heel or going to be like an anti-hero style babyface, because she's attacking the Iconics, who are definitely heels. Mm-hmm. So I don't know where the road goes for her yet, but she needed this moment. This was a good reset for her to get some of the negative stigma away from her that she had built up over the summer.
Yeah. And again, and not to knock off on Ronda Rousey a little bit, because these two women proved that they would have had a great match at WrestleMania, which still might be in the cards. Whether it was the byproduct of practicing in advance or having the right chemistry together or just enough talent to go around, these two just went back and forth in a way that really made sure that they both came out strong. So it's interesting to see where they go from here, because the whole flip of the heel turn and whatnot. Because if WWE thought that positioning Flair as the heel post match and having another Becky Lynch situation going on, and the crowd didn't really react to it whatsoever. I mean, they were booing Rousey and then chanting, "You deserve it," and then chanting, "Thank you, Charlotte," to take this in the opposite direction.
Well, the best way to turn babyface in WWE right now is to turn heel. So.
But not to knock off on her. The boost for Rousey, to me anyways, was a little bit disheartening, because she has done such a great job as a babyface for Raw to this point. Let's just hope that one can only hope that boos were probably the result of the crowd that was pro Lynch in a way. So hopefully that's just it.
I hope. I mean, if she gets booed against Nia Jax, they've got serious problems.
Yeah, they have serious issues.
They're they're up doo-doo creek without a paddle at that.
I'm gonna pull out on a small take here, because if that was not the case, WWE may have on its hands another babyface like Roman Reigns and John Cena, who is polarizing. So
that's the last thing they need. That we don't.
Yeah,
need to
and that's the last thing you need. It's the last thing you needed. I mean, oh God. But credit to Rousey has just been so good against so many stars of varying skill levels, because it will be irresponsible not to just compliment her for everything she's done in such a short period.
She deserves a lot of credit. She's done a really great job. She's come a lot further than I think people thought she would in her first year.
Mm-hmm.
This was another great showing. It's probably her best match of her young career to date. So kudos to her. She brought it. Charlotte Flair did an excellent job kind of keeping the match held together. And then the extracurriculars, it may have backfired compared to what WWE wanted the reaction to be. But, hey, it made Charlotte interesting for the first time in months, and it's got people talking about her now. So
Yes. I mean, again, like you said, here's another point to ponder. Because like you said, Charlotte Flair now is kind of sort of turned heel, but in our eyes anyways, and the crowd says anyways, she's turned face because we cheer for her. So Banks, Bayley, Lynch, Flair, all baby faces of the crowd. You see where I'm going here? Shayna Baszler, Jessamine Duke, Marina Shafir. Heels.
Oof. Yeah. Well,
how's that for a subtle nudge, nudge, wink, wink to that kind of direction, huh?
Oh, it's coming. You get your booties on now, folks. It's coming. I mean, if it doesn't happen, it means there was like a catastrophic injury somewhere along the line, or Vince had like a massive brain fart and decided to not do it. But otherwise, it's happening. So the question is when. I think you laid out this question. When do Charlotte and Ronda wrestle again? What does it mean for Becky on her timetable?
Yeah. Like I said, maybe the card is actually on WrestleMania. Maybe. Who knows? I mean, depending on whether Becky Lynch is clear to wrestle or not. That's another question altogether that we need to find out. So let's just hope that we don't really get there. And yes, that's a good question. Charlotte's a bad guy now?
That's the rumor. I mean, she went and attacked the heels on Tuesday, so...
That's true. She's the bad guy?
Bad guy that attacks other bad guys. So there used to be a term for that. It was anti-hero.
Anti-hero, tween, Stone Cold Becky Lynch. Now we got what? Stone Cold Charlotte now? Is that what we're going through this now?
You got Psycho Charlotte and Stone Cold Becky Lynch.
Ooh. Sounds fun. You're gonna channel Sid Vicious in a way. In any case.
Oh Lord.
I mean,
talk about a distressing thought.
Please don't. Okay.
Oof.
I think I'm gonna go with a 50-50 take on this one. The last point the last match on the card: Brock Lesnar versus Daniel Bryan. One very big positive. Daniel Bryan came out alive.
Yep.
I am not joking, because last week we were really twiddling our thumbs going, what if?
Well, it wasn't for lack of trying. Brock suplexed him on his head like 5 times.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, Bryan was playing with the house's money here.
Yeah.
Just thankful that he's okay. I mean, like I told you before we went on the air, he did have like the crazy bug eyes on SmackDown. So I don't know if that's because he's like got concussions, he's locked in from Sunday night, or if he was just really good acting. But
at least this is over and done with. I mean, giving credit where credit's due, even if it took a while for us to get here. At least Brock Lesnar finally wrestled a match that had more to it than just German suplexes and a single F5.
Agreed. Agreed. It was a breath of fresh air. It was his best match since he had the match with AJ last year, I thought. So,
and hell, Bryan even rope-a-dope the hell out of Lesnar. So that's true.
Watching Bryan taunt Lesnar during the early parts of the match was analogous, in my eyes, to poking a rabid dog with a stick.
Yeah.
And just like, waiting to see if it's going to bite you.
Yeah, it's like Daniel Bryan is playing mind games. When had you ever seen Daniel Bryan play mind games? Almost never.
Oof.
The thought of, say, right now, because he's positioned right now on SmackDown as a heel, taking a sort of kind of cerebral approach to the match with Brock Lesnar, not often seen in today's product. Holy hell, Bryan looked like he's the smart guy in the room. He's the man with a mission. Brock Lesnar is like, I am the strongest guy in the room. I can smash you first.
It looked like it could have ended at any point, but then they kind of like they deked you and they went a different direction with the match, and it took on a new level. Yeah, it was a fun match. I am glad that Bryan survived it.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I'll say this now. Daniel Bryan didn't really need to win this match. He just needed to look good and impress Brock Lesnar. So he did just that.
Yeah, his liver test functions looked good afterwards. He had normal brain waves were apparently okay. So all those test results came back good.
Good, yes, I know. He did just that. He survived an ass kicking. He came within a second of picking up the biggest win of his career. He almost felled Brock Lesnar. So there's that.
It was a... when Brock wants to go, Brock can go.
Well, when Brock wants to go, you need to give him a credible opponent. Daniel Bryan somehow is that credible opponent.
Exactly. Brock and AJ are probably the only two that can coax it out of him at this point. So naturally, I look forward to our next Brock Lesnar Big Show match in April.
Brock Lesnar Big Show match.
I've smelled rotten fruit that was more appetizing than that idea.
Yeah.
Anybody involved.
Let's just skip that. I mean, again, credit where credit's due. Kudos to Lesnar because he sold more for Bryan and looked like he was more motivated to work. He came to work. He came to work with Bryan rather than he wanted to come to work like guys like Roman Reigns, Braun Strowman, Samoa Joe. Which kind of, sort of says something about his motivation in a way. After all, we've seen him deliver similarly against guys like AJ Styles and CM Punk. Oh, why I brought CM Punk because, well, the guys over at the round table have discussed about CM Punk at length. But again, coming back, at least in the grand scheme of things, an event with multiple major flaws, that this is just, well, one nitpick on my side because it's confusing why WWE booked Daniel Bryan to turn heel before coming into Survivor Series, and he was the sympathetic fan favorite coming in fighting against Brock Lesnar for the entire segment, and everything would have been more effective. Like I said, everything would have been more effective if he came into SmackDown. He came into Survivor Series as a sympathetic babyface. You don't turn him heel before Survivor Series. You turn him heel after.
Well, your first mistake was trying to
not that again.
Logic and reason. Like, what are you expecting here?
You want me to go crazy cuckoo, go mad scientist on this all?
I don't know what the hell they're trying to do. I don't know what the hell they're thinking. I mean, you know what? Vince is the guy that makes all the money. So
yeah. I mean, that's agreed. At least like both of us would agree. Daniel Bryan didn't look like a complete joke. Daniel Bryan didn't come out injured or whatnot. He was cleared of all. Any kind of injuries. That was good. So.
They did a good job in the end of making Daniel look like a credible champion.
Yeah.
I thought they did a good job last year protecting AJ too. They did a good enough job protecting the champion.
Yes.
But at the same time, you know, the Brock story is getting old. They need to find the replacement for Brock, and they need to commit to it.
It's either a replacement for Brock or just, okay, let release Brock and just find any other new talent, push any other new talent. But again, like you said, that is me thinking logic.
Yeah. So, I mean, you can understand the fault in your ways there. So.
But I do wish that it happened. I mean, much like in, say, soccer or football, you want to nurture the young talent. You want. I remember a fantastic quote from Paul Heyman, which says that I want the next guy who pitches the next 300 for me. I don't want the guy who's pitching 300 now. I want the guy who's going to pitch 300 for the next 10 years. That's what you wanted.
Yeah, you want a Patrick Clark. You don't want Brock Lesnar at the end of his career. You want Patrick Clark at the beginning of his career.
Exactly.
So
that's the point where you can nurture, guide, train, enhance the talent, and of course you get Patrick Clark, Velveteen Dream. That's what you get. So nurture the talent. Put him as the main event, which they did. Which they did not yet. It's not going to be a surprise if Patrick Clark finally gets a gold. Not the gold in NXT, but a gold. Say, North American title?
I'm hoping he'll do something, but
he looks like he's ready. He looks like he's ready now.
He is. He's ready to rock and roll. And I think Drew McIntyre is ready to rock and roll as far as Raw goes.
As far as Raw goes, yep.
But dear Vince, put the title on Drew McIntyre and get it over with. You senile.
Okay. So considering the fact that we actually praise compliments of TakeOver War Games, what do we say about this one?
Thank God it's over. That was my feeling.
Thank God it's over, yes. Thank God it's over. And like I said early on in the pre-show, it's a chaos and all that, but you won't remember it in T-1 week. You won't remember all this. You won't remember the shit show. You won't remember the crap show that is Monday Survivor Series.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off there, but Survivor Series is a microcosm of the WWE. This shit don't matter.
This don't matter.
It just don't matter.
You think it mattered, but nah, we don't really matter at all about this one. I am so sorry, people who think that this is actually going to be good. It's not.
Man, this is the worst time of the year. This is the part of the calendar year where WWE really goes into the crapper creatively.
Yeah, this is true. This is actually quite true.
Ponder that thought in despair. Another 2 months of garbage until we get to the Rumble and things kind of turn up a little bit. So,
yeah, in a way, I mean, I can't really blame it because, yeah, like I said, like I always say, this tail end of the year is always the part where WWE slowly brings the train down to a grinding halt. I mean, it's already proven. The final months of the year is always the part where they tend to get lazy. They tend to start getting lazy up until when Royal Rumble starts coming over. Then they start picking up steam.
That's exactly right. This is where they get lazy, and they've been lazy all year. So I don't even want to know what this year's going to look like.
Oh, please don't. If my sarcastic grade was, you won't remember this in T-1 week, my actual grade was, this was just a D. If you want to go with star, this was a 1-star show. There's moments that are propping it up, but there's not much to remember. There's way too many negatives and way too many nitpicks that I can pick up from.
There's nothing. I think this is the way that I would describe it. There's nothing that you could find on Survivor Series 2018 that you couldn't find better somewhere else.
Yeah. I mean, heck, like I said earlier on, my friend even told me this. my friend over there, if you watch NXT Takeover War Games, you can skip Survivor Series. You can just not watch it. You can just not watch it.
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, because nothing mattered.
It's nothing mattered.
Nothing
SmackDown and Raw made that point very clear. Survivor Series is the show where the things are made up and the points simply do not matter.
Much like Biff Kensington's romantic life.
Oh, come on. Oh, we're getting it. Okay. Then I hate to be the bearer of bad news. I'm getting hitched on the 8th of June next year.
I gotta get to Japan at some point between now and next June.
Because I know why. Because you want.
I made a vow to you that I would get myself kicked out of your country.
Jeez.
From the rancid debauchery that will be your tour of your last note of freedom as a free man.
Oh, you're gonna do that, huh?
I told you, I have to get over there with the cowboy hat in hand.
Fine.
And live it up and get kicked out and arrested to the consulate and put in timeout. Diplomatic.
Yeah, I know. I heard the. I know the point, but yeah, I hate to be the very bad news, but yeah, I'm getting married on June. Well, on the women's side, on the bride side of things, anyways. On the groom, we're gonna be officially hitched on August, I believe. I haven't really decided because mine is on my end is a little bit late. It's a little bit laid back. It's a little bit laissez-faire on deciding the date. On the women's side, however, we're gonna decide on this. There's a specific day for a bride to actually get to the date or the day of it. So there, but I'm not complaining against it. I like it. Okay, fine. Okay, fine. If we're gonna get hitched on the 8th of June, then we're gonna get hitched on the 8th of June, where I officially discard my single card and go. Yeah, I'm a married man now.
Well, listen, I mean, I joke about getting kicked out of your home country. You know? I joke about getting kicked out, but I do wish you nothing but the absolute best, and I especially look forward to getting a chance to meeting your bride-to-be so I could illicitly hit on her. As I do Legends Lover and in my life.
You just like the dangerous flirtation from two Legends Lover in a way.
If I'm not flirting with Legends Lover, I'm flirting with One Winged Angel. So
yeah. Oh boy. Oh well. Surprises, babe. We actually did 2 hours and we actually covered both.
We did 2 hours, but you could tell the takeover portion was and the survivor portion was
It was a tale of two cities. It was a tale of two emotions. We went to the highest of highs and the lowest of lows. But hey,
we went from Christopher Nolan to
Michael Bay.
Michael Bay. There you go. Yeah, well, there were times of it. It felt like Tommy Wiseau. So.
Oh yeah, okay. There were times it felt like Tommy Wiseau. So.
You're tearing me apart, Lisa.
Oh hey, Mark. Oh, hi, Bob.
What a fun story.
I did not hit her. It's not true.
I did not.
Oh hi, Mark. Oh hi, Mark. Or hi, Bob. I don't know. I mean, I should go watch The Room again or watch The Disaster Artist. Both of them are actually quite good. So. But hey, at least we went through the whole 2 hours talking compliments about Takeover War Games and talking crap about Survivor Series. Folks, strap on to your seats because we're going in on the deep end every week on Raw. Hopefully not every week because there's always a silver lining to every cloud. But you always find that this part of the month is where WWE grinds to a halt in terms of storytelling or booking. Let's hope it's not for the worse. Let's hope it's not for the better. I mean, sure, both me and Biff here take the piss out of which is not a pun in any way whatsoever, considering the consequences, considering the situations that had happened. Would take the piss out of would take a piss out of Survivor Series. But if you guys had actually enjoyed the whole thing, then credit where credit's due. You guys actually did enjoy it. You guys actually had more fun watching Survivor Series than I did. And I'm not even the least bit critical about it.
Hey, if you watched it and you enjoyed Survivor Series, good on you. More power to you.
More power to you. Yes, I have to agree. Because Madeline enjoyed Survivor Series for what it's worth. So.
Well, I mean, it's all in the eye of the beholder. So.
Yeah, and then yes, another good point is SmackDown did something with a clean sweep story would have been fine, but no, like I said, Survivor Series is the show where things are made up and the points do not matter. So,
like the New York Yankees' chances of winning a World Series.
Come on. At least in my end, anyways. Oh, at least in my end, anyways, I can share two positive points before we wrap things up. Georgia Tech football shared something about Roman Reigns, so yeah, and the focus being is that everybody is going, did you see the video? Did you see Roman? Did you see the video? Credit to Madeline for pointing that out too as well on Twitter. Everybody was going, did you see the video? Did you see Roman? And everybody was sharing the whole thing from top to bottom. I mean, it's a positive note. At least the guy looks good. I mean, surprise, the guys are actually good. I mean, again, I think to you guys on the end of the states, it is beanie season. So there's that. He's there wearing the beanie. So I'm not gonna say anything much about wearing beanies and whatnot to cover baldness or something like that, because that is the side effect treatment at one point in time. I don't know whether you can get bald from doing a chemotherapy treatment again. I think you do. Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong, because that was what I encountered when I got treated by leukemia, going through chemotherapy. I got bald, so
I think it varies from person to person.
I got bald when I was 7 years old due to chemotherapy.
Well, I'll put it to you this way: Roman's got a full, luscious beard, and he's looking quite sexy as he normally does. So he looks good. Roman looks good. I'll put it to you that way. It's not like he's like frail and wasted away or anything like that. Yes. He looks like he did kind of when he left. So he's looking good.
He's looking good. Almost a month since he announced it, and since he left, he looks good. So that's a positive thing. Take that as a positive. To those of you Red fans, take another thing as a positive. We were crap from the first half, but we actually scored 3 on the second half. So we won 3-0 against Watford. Thumbs up.
Hey, there we go. That's a good game.
Yeah, it was a good game. It was a good game.
With a good result. So, well, I mean, you know what? I said it elsewhere. I'll say it here. It might not have been the best Survivor Series for a lot of people, but it has been a good holiday week, and it's going to be.
It has. Because hell, like we said earlier on in the show in the start, it started off with a bang with Takeover, with War Games, and then suddenly it disappointed in Survivor Series, and things were made up and points do not matter during the week, and then suddenly we came into Thanksgiving and Labor Thanksgiving on my end, anyways, on the 23rd, where we were just so content, so happy, so relaxed with family. If you guys are celebrating it. If you guys are have celebrated Thanksgiving on the 22nd, happy Thanksgiving from my end, of course, as well as Taker's Minion over at Shootin' the Breeze. Happy Thanksgiving. We hope you had a wonderful, wonderful time spent with your family and being thankful for the company that you have. If you don't celebrate Thanksgiving, I still wish you guys a great day, a great weekend, because I feel it's a great week to just lay back and just be lazy at one point, I think. So there's that.
There you go.
Mm-hmm. And to those of you Japanese listeners, or those of you who understand Japanese, happy Kaishahiro, happy Labor Thanksgiving Day. So, because we, like I said earlier on, we actually celebrated 2 days of Labor Day. One of them is the actual Labor Day on May 1st. On November 23rd, it was always Labor Thanksgiving Day. So 2 days of Labor Day. So it's a content day it's a content day for us nonetheless.
Well, I'm thankful personally for the opportunity to come on here and hang out with you, and I'm thankful for you and Taker's Binion for all that y'all have done. For me personally, it's been a hell of a ride this year, and I look forward to many more rides to come in 2019. So, cheers, my friend.
Thank you. And to me personally, yes, I am thankful for the company that I have. I am thankful for the actual luck that I have, and the good positive things that coming out into my life. Me getting engaged, me getting hitched next year, anyways. But we're planning on that. Us moving to bigger and better things as a podcast, as a thing, and just hanging out with you guys. I mean, that's just the thing. That's just always us. That's always the positive that I try to pull out from all of this, because it's just us being alive, living the life that we want. So
there ain't no better way to spend a Saturday morning than to hang out in the good company of friends. So.
Yes, and just talk, and just and at one point compliment about Graps, and then just talking shit about Graps.
And then talking crappy wrestling. Yeah.
Yes. Well, technically speaking, Survivor Series don't really have that much of a crappy wrestling. It's just that it somehow leaves a bad taste in our mouths. So it's not that the wrestling is bad. It's okay. It's decent. Some of them are actually quite good, but
I'll allow it. I'll allow it.
Yes. Okay. But in any case, this has been Shootin' the Breeze, episode 68. Our review of both Survivor Series 2018 and NXT Takeover War Games 2018, or War Games 2, if you want to call it that. Thank you guys so much for listening, coming on, talking in the chat. Legends Lover, Zetsled, Madeline Lenoir, shout out to you guys. Thank you once again to Biff Kensington III for coming over. Actually, not on such short notice, because you actually had one pressing matter that you wanted to ask me. So I'll keep that on down low for now. But I think you have.
We all know that I bring the entertainment value in that scenario. So
yeah, I'm looking to it. But in any case, thank you guys so much for listening. Where can I find you, Mr. Bear?
Well, I'm going to bed here in a moment.
Yes, of course. I know.
I'm going to bed here for most of Saturday. You can find me at Cage Side Seats. I'm in the daily and nightly threads usually. On Twitter at Real Deal Biff. Give us a shout over there. Grounds for Development with Greg the Hold, aka the Saskatchewan Spinning Nerve Hold. We drop those shows live Wednesday evenings, and then they get re-released over at Cage Side Seats on Thursday mornings. That's just generally whenever I'm able to wake up. And then, of course, Monday night, Connoisseurs of Wrestling, the alternative to Raw. Legends Lover, Taker's Binion, George Savas, and myself, 8 p.m. Eastern. Generally runs about an hour and a half to 2 hours. We're talking Japanese women's wrestling on Monday. So it's a big show. It's a show that's been requested by a couple of different people. So it's going to be a fun show this week.
Oh, fun. We're going to talk Joshi wrestlers. Ooh.
Yeah, Joshi Puro. So
Joshi Puro. That's a lot to take. That's a lot to take. Well,
it's very broad. So.
Yeah, it's a very broad subject, especially if you wanted to go delve deep for that. In any case, that's on my end anyways. I'm not that much of an expert. I know so much. I know much to take myself forward. I don't know much to delve myself into it. So.
Well, put it this way, this will be the first of hopefully many conversations on the subject, because it is such a rich field of history to dive into here.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Hey, if you need help, you know where to find me.
Oh, trust me, we'll probably be impressing you at some point here soon.
Okay.
We've already got some people lined up for impress duty coming up in December. Poor Greg the Hold was told that he's mandatory to come on. So
yes, you need to do.
So I'm sure we'll work out a similar arrangement with your significant other to make sure that you come on against your will too. So
yeah, I know. Anyways, thank you. You can also now I do need to do some plugs because I have a lot of plugs to do. You can catch me on Twitter at Mr. Dr. Senju. That's MRDR Senju. Bear with me. This is the first time I'm actually doing promote plugins for me first. Usually it's Taker first, then me. I wrap everything up. But you guys can, again, I digress. You guys can catch me on Twitter at Mr. Dr. Senju. That's MRDR Senju. You can also catch me on the Shootin' the Breeze official Twitter channel. That is SHOOTINDABREEZ1. Catch us. You can also catch on this show. You can also catch everything on the show at Shootin' the Breeze on iTunes, Apple Podcast, on SoundCloud, also on YouTube, where we archive everything that we do live stream here. Give us a like, give us a subscription, or give us a comment. Good positive notes, probably broad criticism on the way as well. Please, just give us a like. Be nice to us, please, please, please. In any case, other than that, I have a lot of plugs that I need to do. Being that I have to plug stuff over on the Lost and Global Today podcast banner. We have Two Guys One Sport with Chris Colgan and George Chavez on Thursdays. We have Fizzy's Wacky World of Wrestling with William Fitzpatrick. We have Violent Wrestling Podcast with Ambrose Ali, Prince Maxi Lopez, and Metal Matt on Wednesdays. We have Match Fixing with Don Saab Cruzmano over at Outline Media. We have Ruthless Aggression Podcast with Metal Matt. Connoisseurs of Wrestling with Taker's Minion, Biff Kensington, George Chavez, and Legends Lover. And of course, I do the plug again, Grounds for Development with Biff Kensington and Hold Number 5 or Wreck the Hold or Saskatchewan Spreading Number 4. So, yay, I got everyone. Other than that, well, that's pretty much it. This has been, like I said, this has been Shootin' the Breeze, episode 68. The series I survived, and I can't believe I did. So, but again, like I said, this is the series where the things are made up and the points do not matter. I always emphasize this to the point because you won't remember this in T-1 week. For Taker's Minion, who's unfortunately not here. For Biff, my name is Mr. Dr. Chenju. I'm MDS. Be nice to one another. Make sure to smile, all right? Hope you had a great day. Hope you had a great week. Hope you had a great Thanksgiving. Hope you had a great Labor Thanksgiving. And I'll see you next week. Bye.
Take care, everybody.